Shout hallelujah and just get happy. We're going to the promised land. We're heading across a river. Soon your cares will all be gone.
Welcome to those who are watching from home. We're glad you're here. I'm Reverend Kathy Harrington, and I'm the worship associate this morning. It's really good to be together again. First, I want to acknowledge that the land that we walk upon are the traditional territories of the Haudenosaunee people, the original nations of this land who continue to cry out for justice and self-determination. It occurs to me that we can do more than just acknowledge that we could maybe learn more about them. So I did a little research and I found some books. There's one in particular called We Want Equal Rights: How Suffragists Were Influenced by the Haudenosaunee Women. You might not remember that there was a time when women were considered subservient to their husbands and also chattel. Well, the Haudenosaunee Society provided a shining example of what is possible when women are treated with respect. So another announcement, this is the first day of the banned book week, and we were going to have the banned books, burning books here, but they were not able to be here, but they will be here at another time. The UUCB Banned Book Club will have its first meeting on Saturday, September 28th at 10 a.m. If you're interested, the book is genderqueer. Please contact Sharon Walker, Mary Lou Hill, or Jess Pond. And for those of you that were here last night, how about that launch party, right? Woo! We did a lot of thanking of people, but we forgot to thank Nate last night. So when you see him, please tell him thank you for the wonderful food that he prepared. Martha has a quick 30-second announcement, maybe 45-second.
How quick? I was throwing out a whole bunch of old papers recently, and I came across a service leaflet from 2007, and I had penciled on the back a set of verses for, I guess, a little promotion for the Canvas campaign of that year. And I thought, well, you know, some of these words I think might even work in 2024. So we're gonna, this is in the Department of Carrying the Light Backward. We're gonna go back to that year, and here's how I was trying to give a little shout out for the campaign of that year. It's to the tune of Just As Long As I Have Breath, number 6 in your hymnal if you wanna follow along. This year when the canvas rings, make your pledge for all good things. Should you have less in the till, still you'll answer, yes, I will. Always there's the crying need, so you'll answer, yes, indeed. For the programs we support, we will answer, yes, in short. While our worship soothes the soul, answer yes, we'll reach the goal. Here's the lesson, young or old. Answer yes, be brave, be bold. For this home of stone and wood, we have answered yes, we could. For the future, like the past, let's make this tradition last. You use, there's a wealth to share. Answer yes, we're halfway there. Let's carry the light forward.
And just in case you're wondering, okay, now what do I do? So what you do is you come find me in the parish hall. I give you a gift of a packet. Please read it. I cannot tell you how many hours it has taken of people to work on this. Read it. You can toss it out after that. And then fill out your pledge card. And to show you how wonderful this, how easy this is, I'm just going to hand this over to the person that I'm holding right now. So you know, you just have to take it and leave.
Don't be jealous. I just want to say quickly, don't miss your chance to win the Bills basket. Raffle tickets are on sale today only in the parish hall. It's going to have a drawing at noon, so you may want to play with that one for a little while. All right. So our guest speaker this morning is a Unitarian Universalist minister from East Tennessee. Jake was the lead minister for the UU Church of Oak Ridge for 19 years. He's a former trustee of the UUA board and a former chaplain in the U.S. Army Reserve. He currently consults with many UU ministers and congregations. He's the author of 5 books, is the licensed marital and family therapist, and he serves on the faculty of the Bowen Center for the Study of the Family. With his wife, Molly, he is the proud parent of 2 teenagers and shares life with a nervous dog and 3 overconfident cats. Isn't that always the way? So I think we have a search committee moment. Is Julie here? Okay. It's all right. No pressure.
Good morning. Took me a long way to get here. So search committee, did everybody get an email? Raise your hand if you got an email. Awesome. Now, keep your hand raised if you responded to that email. All right. What's holding you back? I want everyone today, we're going to send out another e-blast today after service, and I want everybody to eagerly go, grab that email, fill out the survey, because it's important to our future. Everything today that we're talking about is about our future, and this is one of the many components about our future. So go, grab that email. We'll have a desk out in the parish hall, and we will have QR codes. You can do it here, or we can happily see your response when you go home today. All right? Are we good, Maria? All right. Woohoo!
All right. Before you greet your neighbor, I just want to say Jake is offering a workshop this evening from 6 to 8 on healthy communication. And so if you're interested in that, please join us. It's here in the parish hall. Now, greet your neighbor. Say hello to someone that you don't know well or you've never met before.
And should I come in right now at the end of this greet neighbor?
Yes, I'll ring the bell and then this is off. If they don't behave, we'll do it again.
Well, I'll break them up.
Okay.
We weren't ready, but now we're ready. We weren't ready, but now we're ready. You have a part in this. We weren't ready. We were. But now we're ready to greet the new day, to find a new way, to love our neighbors, to fall back in love, to fall back in love.
So now it's time to light our chalice. So please rise in body or spirit and join me in our chalice lighting that's in the order of service. We gather in loving community, inspiring one another to transform ourselves to create a more just and compassionate world. And stay up, we're going to sing hymn number 1, May Nothing Evil Cross This Door.
May I'd like to invite children and anyone else who's been hankering to sit on the floor to come on down. And as people find their way here, I want to let you know that I don't think you know me, but I have the delusion that I know something about you. About 3 years ago, when I'm traveling around, instead of renting a co-working space, I like to go to UU congregations and set up shop there with the Wi-Fi so that my money's supporting Unitarian Universalism. So when I was in Buffalo working with some folks about 3 years ago, it was a Monday, I came here and set up in an upstairs room. This was an online course that I was teaching for some leaders who were in some pretty serious circumstances with conflict and tension and all kinds of things like that. And as the course began, the online course on Zoom, from beneath me in the parlor hall came the sound of wild folk dancing, such that every time I unmuted myself, whatever I said was supported and enhanced by the sound not only of music and thumping, thundering herd heels, but also whoops of delight. So I'm coming in here with a bias about how you all operate, that delight is not foreign to you. So I have this story. Thanks for being here. I'm so glad you guys are here. I grew up in a UU congregation and had a lot of time rolling around on the rug myself, hearing good stories. And this is one of the ones that I heard a long time ago. It's about David and Goliath. Does that sound familiar to anybody? A couple of people? Some of the people back there have heard it. Okay, yeah, and not everybody, some of us. So once upon a time, the people of love, the community that had gathered in the name of love to do the work of love in the world, had been through all kinds of great stories to tell and things that they had overcome. And then came the day when on the far shore of the river, there appeared a fearsome opponent whose name was Goliath. Goliath was about 10 feet tall. No, I think he was about 20 feet tall. And he was sneering and snarling and saying mean things from across the river. And the people of love, who'd been through so many things together, began to tremble. And they began to worry that maybe, despite all that they had done, this time they did not have what they need. And sure enough, one person and then another went up to meet this fearsome Goliath. And you can think of Goliath as kind of like a bully, or kind of like what you might be scared of or what you might worry about. And so that's who Goliath was. And one after another, they could not figure out how to overcome Goliath. Well, they got a little hungry, the people of love did. And there was somebody who helped serve them snacks, and his name was David. David was the snack boy. And so they decided to go and let David know that it was time for snacks. Because even when you're in the worst battle of your life, it's never too late for snack time. So they went to David and they said, David, will you bring around refreshments so that we can be strengthened for the battle with Goliath? And sure enough, David did, and he brought refreshments. But as he came to this camp and saw Goliath on the far shore, a light went off in his head. He said, you know, I think I might know a way to come up against Goliath. I know I might have a way to fight that opponent. And at first, all the people around them kind of snickered and laughed. David, the snack boy, David, this person who is not even a soldier or somebody who's fought battles like we have. And he said, yes. And I don't know if you've had that experience where you know you can do something and other people aren't so sure. Have you had that experience where you're sure? Yeah. So he had that feeling inside, I can do this. And soon enough, people said, okay, have at it, give it a try. And King Saul, who was the big boss around there, said, well, you are going to need my armor. And King Saul brought the heavy armor of a very large person to drape over David's shoulders. and it weighed David down. David said, this is not how I can fight my battle. I cannot fight my battle with what works for other people. David was a shepherd. He tended animals out in the pasture, and he said, you know what works for me? You know what I've practiced? I've practiced skipping stones. Has anybody here skipped stones like in a lake? Yeah, okay. That's what David had done. He was very good at skipping stones. And so he gathered 5 smooth stones out of the creek, and he went up against Goliath, and people said, how on earth is this going to work? But sure enough, ping, 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 and David won. David, who nobody had expected would be the person who had it within him to overcome this big bully, he was the one. And the way that he did it was by trusting himself that what he had practiced, what he knew he was good at, was the way to meet the challenge in front of him. I take from that story that if I'm good at drawing, if I'm good at art, that's what's going to help me when I've got a challenge. If I'm good at singing, if I'm good at math, if I'm good at making friends and gathering people together, whatever I'm good at, that's what I can trust when I'm challenged. That's how I think about it. Anyway, that's the story for today. It's been a thrill being with you all. And now I think that you all rise up into the ceiling, or what happens with you now? People sing a song. Yeah, I don't know what happens either. This is up to somebody else. But have a great day.
Okay, we sing them out. Go now in peace, they're gone. Every week, our congregation takes a good portion of our Sunday morning offering and gives it away to a social justice cause outside our church walls. This month, we are supporting the good work of Voice Buffalo. Voice Buffalo is dedicated to racial justice, dismantling incarceration cycles, and empowering youth through education and civic engagement. To support our church and our Share the Plate ministry, you can drop a check or cash in the offering plate, or you can use PayPal by going on our website. You can also send a check through the mail, or you can arrange a regular automatic deposit with your bank. If your offering is in the form of the check, please indicate on the memo line whether it is for Share the Plate or for your pledge. Let us give generously to support our church and its wider concerns.
He
This morning, as we are launching our Carry the Forward, Light Forward capital campaign, we are also launching our annual giving campaign. So the visiting stewards, we need to covenant with them. Are you here? And would you come forward, please? In your order of service, you'll find the covenant words. Oh goodness, there's quite a few of you, huh? Lovely. Well, there's quite a few of you, so we need a lot of stewards. So we'll start with the stewards speaking their words. When you're ready. We stand before you committed. Great. Do you have your script? Congregation. Visiting steward, and to make time in our busy lives to have a stewardship conversation. We commit to prepare for the conversation by reflecting on our relationship with the church and to engage the visiting steward in honest and direct conversation. We commit ourselves to listen respectfully to your dreams and concerns. We promise to be private or should be private and pass along only that information that you have asked us to share. We commit ourselves to generosity of spirit and promise to make an annual pledge and campaign commitment. And together, we commit ourselves to enjoy each other's company, to respect each other's ideas, perceptions, and beliefs, and to have a good time while raising money to ensure the future health and grandest dreams of our church. Wonderful. Thank you, everyone. Yay. Visiting stewards, thank you so much for your deep commitment to this beloved church community. Let's show them some appreciation.
I invite you, as you're moved, to center down into a spirit of contemplation and reverence and open heart. And as we do, perhaps allow your eyes to close or to settle on one still point in this room, steadying your mind. And as we come further into this time and openness, I invite those who bring here today the name of someone heavy on your heart or perhaps bursting with joy from your lips, and speak that name aloud. Spirit of love, source of all, we hold all of these in care and ask that the message of tender care and the presence of tender care reaches their lives and their circumstance in a way that they receive as hope and assurance. And we recognize those too whose names went unspoken this morning, and those even beyond these walls and beyond the orbits of our relationships, who this morning are suffering or woke up hurting this morning in this city. Let us understand them too as part of the circle of care to which we are called. In this room, there are those with questions and doubts and fears. Spirit of love, invite those with these fears or with these heavy hearts to draw closer to trusted relationships, to risk trying again, to consider looking to the horizon where even now that vision of the beloved community in which all are known and loved by their own true names are celebrated and cherished, and we all gather together on that day in this world that love has transformed. So may it be. Amen.
You can tell by the way I walk I'm a woman's man and no time to talk. Well, music loud and women warm. I've been kicked around since I was born, but that's okay, 'cause I'm staying alive. I'm staying alive. You can try to understand the New York Times effect on man, whether you're a mother or whether you're a brother, you're staying alive till you feel the city breaking and everybody's shaking. Can't get either, I really try. Got the wings of heaven on my shoes. I'm a dancing man and I just can't lose. Whether you're a mother or whether you're a brother, you're always staying alive. Do you feel the city breaking and everybody's shaking? Oh, let's stay alive. Oh, let's stay alive. Oh, 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 staying alive.
Before I do the reading, I just want to say we have a lot of elements to this service this morning, so in the interest of time, I'm going to just use my executive power and say we're not going to sing the last hymn, okay? Because I said to Jake, don't edit. He's come a long way, and he has a message that we need to hear, and I know you want to hear it, okay? All right. So the reading this morning is by Marianne Williamson, Our Deepest Fear. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that frightens us most. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We are born to manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it is in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others.
Before I get rolling, I wanted to tell you one of my favorite books is by the Zen Buddhist teacher Roshi Joan Halifax, and it's called The Fertile Darkness. And it is a guidebook for a spiritual relationship with darkness that is made a powerful impact on me in my life. So as somebody, who am trying to unlearn racism on a daily, weekly basis, I just want to name that today I'm going to be talking about light and shining. And as I do, I also at the same time in my heart celebrate the fertile darkness. So I don't want to set up that kind of thing that can happen. So a couple weeks ago, I was in Walmart in Oak Ridge, Tennessee, where I live, which is a small town right outside Knoxville. We make handcrafted artisanal nuclear weapons there. And I was there in Walmart, and I saw a mother and a daughter walking around, making their way through the aisles, and the daughter was beside herself, maybe 7 years old or so, just pitching a fit. She had had enough. And so she was there where the ice cream was, and she grabbed some ice cream out of the freezer and threw it in the cart, and her mother, the picture of patience itself, said, "Now, Missy, we need to put this ice cream back. We're almost done, only a few more aisles, and then we'll be able to go." And the mother and daughter put all that ice cream back. I was amazed because I myself have been a parent in similar circumstances and have not risen always exactly to that high standard. And so it was again, inspiring a few aisles over where I saw, again, this little kid was done with the day, done with being in Walmart, and was now throwing Pop-Tarts in there. I want some Pop-Tarts. Why don't you let me have Pop-Tarts? And again, the mom said, "Now, Missy, we got about 10 more minutes here, one thing at a time. And so let's just put those Pop-Tarts back and we'll be on our way." Again, I saw them again at the checkout aisle, which is where they put all the temptations. And not just for little kids. I don't know if you've been to a grocery store recently, but it's not an accident. And so this kid was just losing it. And again, the mom was saying, "Missy, we are almost there. 2 more minutes and we are out of this store and we can go home and take a good long nap and just hold on to yourself." Well, out in the parking lot, I happened to be parked near them, and I came up to the mother and I said, "I have to say, I'm a parent myself, and what I saw in there, how you treated Missy, was just amazing." And she looked at me and she said, My daughter's name is Danielle. My name is Missy. Now, that may or may not have actually happened. But everywhere we find ourselves out in the world, at Walmart, at work, with our friends, at the park, we bear witness to lives managing much of the same, the challenge of holding on to integrity, holding on to the best of ourselves in the face of sometimes seemingly impossible demands. From parenting, from keeping up with expenses, from any number of things. And if we're honest, it may be that we are not only bearing witness to others trying to manage themselves in the struggle, it may be that we ourselves are participating in lives that can seem sometimes backed in the corner with pressures bearing down. Am I alone? Okay. Someone here this morning, I would bet, is wrestling with whether or how to have a delicate conversation with someone important in their lives. Someone in this room is trying to come to peace with some new information about their health or about their loved one with no clear path forward. Someone this morning is wondering if you can forgive or if you can be forgiven and how that might happen. And somebody here just might be trying to keep their head above water. I don't know what it took for you to get here this morning, whether in person or on Zoom. I don't know what you're up against, but I know you had options and that you made a choice and that something brought you here. And for that alone, I give thanks. Because without knowing anything else about your situation, other than you got yourself here this morning, I know that you're someone in the world where people are giving up left and right every day for understandable reasons. And I have the idea that if you made a different decision, if you decided not to give up, then you must be some kind of extraordinarily stubborn cuss. Don't you know about climate change? Don't you know about a divided nation where there are some in our country fantasizing about civil war? Don't you know about doom and gloom studies on the fate of communities and this plague of loneliness that we're living through? Don't you know? And yet you came here. I find that very strange. And I find it inspiring. Maybe you're here this morning not as some bright-eyed true believer only seeing rainbows and sunshine. Maybe you're here today as somebody who's not entirely sure how things will turn out, as somebody who's figuring out how to live with integrity and courage and peace in this world. Maybe you have a longing to live in that way, but it's not clear this morning yet entirely how. If that is close to true for you, I have the sense that you are not alone. After all, many of us who've spent some time in this world, who made it through childhood, who made some decisions that made sense at the time, can see in hindsight that we've made some compromises, that we haven't always lived as the best and truest versions of ourselves, that we haven't always allowed our lights to shine. There's a line from the Gospel of Thomas, which implicates me. The Gospel of Thomas is a collection of sayings of Jesus, and the line goes like this: if you bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth will save you. If you do not bring forth what is within you, the line goes on, what you do not bring forth will destroy you. If you bring forth what's within you, what you bring forth will save you. If you do not bring forth what is within you, what you do not bring forth will destroy you. I hate reading things like that. For a long time, nobody even knew that the Gospel of Thomas existed. In 1945, in a place called Nag Hammadi in Upper Egypt, a farmer discovered a sealed jar underground, and inside that sealed jar were 13 leather-bound codices, or small books, written in the Coptic language. As scholars studied them, they saw that these were early Christian texts, part of a larger library of texts from the stream of the early church known as Gnosticism. Instead of promoting orthodoxy, adherence to theological concepts, Gnosticism promoted coming to know the divine through personal direct experience, through inner knowing. And then in the year 367, Bishop Athanasius, sometimes I ask people to boo at this point. I'm going to ask you to boo. Then, in the year 367, Bishop Athanasius ordered that all such texts not included in the canonical Bible should be destroyed. But instead of destroying them, it's believed that monks at a nearby Pachomian monastery buried these texts in a jar in Nag Hammadi. And there they lay, preserved, out of sight for the next 1,578 years. Until that farmer found them. Like those texts preserved underground in a jar for centuries, it may be that some of us here today have also assiduously made sure to keep hidden some wisdom, some brilliance, some gift of our own, so that the world never sees. It may be that some of us come here this morning successfully disguised as perfectly respectable people, with no one ever guessing what power we contain, what beauty, what wildness, what joy, what grief, what life, what gifts. It may be that we have not, in our lives, brought forth all that is within us, and that as we ponder the risk to ourselves for only half showing up to what is our passing lives, we might consider the risk to others of our living in the shadows, hidden away like that. In the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 5, verses 14 to 16, I know some of your allergies may be acting up now as you hear me reference the Christian tradition. I'm a UU minister. I'm with you, okay? We're here. It's okay. I'm just talking about some book. In the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 5, verses 14, 16, where Jesus is preaching what's known as his Sermon on the Mount, he says, "You are a light of the world. A city built on a hill cannot be hid. People do not light a lamp and put it under the bushel basket. Rather, they put it on a lampstand, and it gives light to all in the house. In the same way," he says, "let your light shine before others so that they may see your good works and give glory to your Father in heaven." And we can hear that. We can translate that as your parent in heaven, or the source of creation, or even life itself. So we can hear it as, "Let your light shine before others so that they may see your good works and give glory to life itself." This little light of mine, remember that? I'm gonna let it shine. Some of us sang that song as children and then proceeded to construct lives in which we made very sure that our light did not shine. Hide it under a bushel. No, I'm gonna let it shine. Many of us declared in that song that we were not going to hide our light under a bushel. Remember those whispered, excited conversations with friends as a teenager? Even as children, some of us may have been aware that the world would seek to snuff out our light. Even as children, perhaps especially as children, some of us were becoming tragically aware that this world we'd been born into could be confusing and unsafe, but we declared our young selves anyway as stewards and defenders of the brilliance within us. And then somehow, perhaps little by little, perhaps all at once, adulthood seemed to mean dimming that light or covering it over with the equivalent of a bushel basket, toning it down a little, not shining so brightly, not being so honest, not being so open, not being so brave, and we called this maturity. We called this adulthood. If you bring forth what is within you, says that line in the Gospel of Thomas, what you bring forth will save you. If you do not bring forth what is within you, what you do not bring forth will destroy you. So we've buried our wisdom, our light, like a sealed jar hidden from sight, maybe not for centuries, but for a very, very long time. We've practiced instead living as if we were people with different, perhaps more acceptable gifts and different obligations, as if there were commitments more important than allowing our full selves to shine, as if the gifts and joy and wildness within us were like the good china, kept carefully in a cabinet, preserved to be taken out only when the time was right on some special occasion, perhaps when you've saved enough money, when you'd crossed through the storm, when things were more stabilized. Maybe then you'd write that book. Maybe then you'd speak your truth. Maybe then you'd start singing again. Maybe then you'd have that brave conversation with your partner or with a friend. Maybe then you'd set that boundary and no longer tolerate what you have been accepting. Maybe then you'd come out. Maybe then you'd let your light shine. Biding your time, waiting, biding our time. Who am I kidding up here? As the months and then years went past, and then decades. How we spend our days, said the writer Annie Dillard, is, of course, how we spend our lives. What we do with this hour and that one is what we are doing. In other words, Dillard suggests our lifetimes are made up of the habits we live by. We become what we practice. If over time we commit to the daily practice of letting our light shine, then we will in time become those who shine. If over time we commit to the practice every day of dimming or of hiding our light, of being cautious or tentative with the truth, wary and slow to trust, then we will make ourselves over into people who are well practiced at not trusting, not being forthcoming, not letting our light shine. As Kathy said, I served the Oak Ridge Unitarian Universalist Church in East Tennessee for 19 years. It's a congregation of engineers and scientists, among other things, serious folks. But we had some laughs. And one of them was the time in the year 2009 to celebrate a big anniversary with a 0 on it of the congregation. Some of these leaders of the congregation assembled materials and buried a time capsule on the property on the lawn outside the sanctuary. And then only 4 years later, in 2013, through a series of unexpected events, when the congregation had sold its building and was moving 2 miles down the turnpike to build a new building, it took 3 days. This is a 4-year gap between burying and needing to dig back up. It took 3 days for the very same intelligent Unitarian Universalists to rediscover where they themselves had buried the time capsule. If you have been pretending to be a respectable member of society for a few years or more, if you've been putting aside your own wants and needs for the care of others and for duty to others, it may be that it takes some time to remember where you buried your sealed jar of brilliance. It may take some time to recall under which bushel years ago you hid your light, or even what that light looked like, or how it could shine now as the person you've become, different from who you were then. But taking some time to rediscover your light, to come back home to your authentic self, is very different from deciding not to undertake such a project at all. And if that is true for any of us as individuals at this point in our life, it is true also for a whole congregation. In the decade prior to my arrival, the Oak Ridge congregation had experienced any number of conflicts, disappointments, setbacks, breaches of trust, and other forms of the deep pain that can come when we decide as fallible humans to share our lives together. And in response, some in the congregation had drifted away or had just disappeared. Those who remained, having learned the lessons of disappointment and heartbreak, sought refuge in the formality of policy governance and other rules to govern how things should be done. Now, I'm a governance wonk, but I don't think it's the answer. It is not my abiding vision. So they were hiding out in this formality of rules of how things should be done. It was too hard to hope. Maybe adopting more modest aspirations, some thought, was the wiser course. I don't know what disappointments or heartbreak have been part of your experience in this congregation, but as someone who has consulted with hundreds of clergy and dozens of congregations, as someone who's seen how COVID and the Trump era have brought wreckage upon communities, I would not be surprised if there have been a few. I would not be surprised if it has seemed safer sometimes to steer by the dim light of should, to let should guide your path. But I will tell you what I told the folks in Oak Ridge, a line that's not mine, but which I wholeheartedly endorse. It's from Martin Luther King Jr.'s mentor, the theologian Howard Thurman. He said, "Don't ask what the world needs, ask what makes you come alive, and then go do that." Because what the world needs is people who have come alive. The dichotomy between joy and service is a false choice. It's not one or the other. The anarchist and feminist Emma Goldman from a century ago is remembered for the line, "If I can't dance, I don't want to be part of your revolution." She never said that exact line specifically, but the idea is from her autobiography, where a young comrade at a party chastised her for dancing with abandon, saying that it detracted from the seriousness of their cause. And in response, Goldman told this young activist that she would not choose between joy and revolution. To me, this idea contains so much of the power and brilliance of feminism itself, the refusal to choose between politics and personhood, but instead the realization that full personhood, including dancing however we dance, is a precondition of justice. And maybe you've been waiting as individuals or as a congregation for more favorable conditions, for the weather to change, or until it's safe to come out. Well, it's not safe to come out. It won't be. This is not a safe world. One of my best and longest time friends came out as trans almost 15 years ago. He's a teacher and talks publicly to educate people and to offer support depending on the audience. And when the question comes up of whether and how one can mitigate risk and manage risk and safety, he holds up his hand, he says, and starts simply with the answer, "It's worth it." It's worth it. Yeah, there's things to attend to, things to be aware of, but he begins his answer with, "It's worth it." If you bring forth what is within you, says the Gospel of Thomas, what you bring forth will save you. If you do not bring forth what is within you, what you do not bring forth will destroy you. It's worth it because this place of yours is a lighthouse offering hope to those lost at sea. The writer Anne Lamott says lighthouses don't go running all over an island looking for boats to save. They just stand there shining. That's all that's asked of you. Just to shine, and it is everything. For people who are lost and who find you, it is everything. I have read a report related to your exciting upcoming plans for this building entitled "The Economic Halo Effect of Sacred Places." It talks about how on an annual basis the impact around you of this place is over $1.6 million. $1.6 million of economic impact and activity just because you are here, and I take that seriously, but I don't measure the difference you make in dollars alone. When I think about how it matters that you're here on this corner, I think about those who are lost who, because of your ministry together, are now finding their way home, finding their way back to truth and to themselves. When I think about how it matters that you're here on this corner, I think about families that were falling apart at the seams until they felt themselves now held in your care. When I think about how it matters, I think of a world starving for messages of a wider and more generous sense of the holy, such that can mobilize us all together to transform the forces of hatred and division now into new channels of justice and peace. Your lives and your life here together, what you do, what you are, has power beyond what you even might now yet imagine. Maybe you have reflected with gratitude on the foresight and generosity of those who came in the generations before, of those 100 years ago or 50 years who dared to dream of this morning, of you gathered here, who gave gifts with you in mind this morning, and that you've gladly received these gifts. And after all that history, isn't it amazing as a community that you're only now getting started? Other people might say that you're about to launch a campaign that's about a building, And on the face of it, I've read a couple of reports, that seems to be true. But here's how I see it. Despite all the headlines that the sky is falling, or perhaps because of the headlines that say the sky is falling, here in the year 2024, when some would retreat from moving into the future, you as a people are deciding to wake yourselves back up, to shine like never before, to let your radiance ripple out through the streets and back alleys and the lonely places of this world in a way that I believe is literally life-saving. And as you marshal your forces to be that light and to take that light out from under the bushel where it has been hidden, or to unseal it from the clay jar where it has been sealed, as you make that decision together to carry the light forward, to let it shine out from this corner into a hurting world, if that light is going to be more than a flash in the pan, if that light is going to shine steadily, strongly, and powerfully for the decades and centuries yet to come, then it's going to need a good lamp. And that's how I see this building, a sturdy lamp, one that lasts, one that enables more light from each of you and from all of you to shine out and to spread the good news that love is more powerful than fear, more powerful than division, more powerful than despair, and that love is here to stay, here in Buffalo, doing what love, day by day, in our hearts, in our families, in this congregation, and all across the city always does. What does it take to shine? It takes a decision. You are making a decision. You have made a decision. And from what I can see, that decision is yes. Yes, I will let my light shine. Yes, I will be part of something historic in this city. Yes, I will overcome the obstacles that have held me back. Yes, I will be the person I've been meaning to be. Yes, I will join together arm in arm, life to life, light to light, with all others in this congregation and all who share in this mission, and I will give myself to the work of love in my life, the work of love in this world, and when the time comes that someone asks my decision, with that clarity in my heart, my answer this morning is already yes.
Take a breath. Thank you, Jake. I'm going to do the chalice extinguishing. You can just stay seated because you're not going to sing, but you are going to dance with abandon up and down the aisles. Is that okay with you? All right, okay. So join me in these words. As we extinguish the flame of this chalice, may we carry its light into the world in the power of peace, faith, justice, and love.
As we turn from this hour, may you be fools for love and pilgrims for justice. And until we meet again, may we walk, rock, and roll in beloved community.
You're gonna be nowhere, the loneliest kind of lonely. It may be rough going just to do your things, the only thing to So you've got